Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Of course, I am your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic on this slightly unfair weather day. Of course, today is June 11th, 2019. Thank you guys so much for joining me, whether you're watching across YouTube, Twitch, DLive, or Facebook Live. And of course, if this is the first time to the channel, make sure to show us some love by giving us a follow or a subscription on whatever platform you happen to be watching, and share us around to your family and friends, especially people you don't even like. They need to see this. So I want to say hello to everybody in the chat this morning. Dubatot Ebrius, Alex Rios, Floyd, Stephen Hyatt, Seifu Mafu. Good to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And I also want to thank Ashken M, Rodel Yokte, and Maria for the recent subscriptions on YouTube. All right, guys, we got a great show for you today. Now, obviously, something pretty big happened last night. Google did a big algorithm update. So we're going to see how this show is affected, because this is something that affects everybody in this space that is a content creator. This is something that affects everybody in this space that runs a website or any service that is web-based, because millions of dollars are spent every single year on Google search engine optimization. And we're going to see what kind of effect this has on the space. The biggest news obviously coming in today is CCN, the biggest newscasting website, the biggest news platform for cryptocurrency news in the space, is shutting down because overnight they lost 90% of their traffic, i.e. 90% of their revenue. You know, it's a lot of people don't understand kind of how it works on the other side of content creation. The only reason that we're able to do the show every day is because people show up and support us. And we have this show in particular, Breaking Bitcoin Market Update, and the entire Cracking Cryptocurrency crew. You guys, our supporters, our fans, our viewers, members in our group, you guys are absolutely fantastic and have supported us, been with us through thick and thin. We've been here since September 2017, doing Cracking Cryptocurrency, doing the group, doing trading, doing education, covering what we think is important in the space, and me, as a content creator, sharing my thoughts and opinions and the thoughts and opinions of my staff and crew. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for the continued support. You guys are absolutely amazing. And thank you so much for continuing to show up for us and show us some love. So we're going to see how this channel as well, but I'm interested to see how the entire space is going to be affected. Overall, we know in cryptocurrency, and you're going to get conspiracy theories that fly back and forth, left and right, whichever way, about how it's manipulation, it's the government attacking Bitcoin, it's the government attacking cryptocurrency. But we do know that it's not just CCN that was negatively affected from last night's algorithm update. There are many other cryptocurrency-related websites that are also reporting drop-offs in traffic pretty much overnight and pretty drastic. So we're going to see who is able to weather the storm, who is able to optimize better. It's kind of an arms race. It's kind of an arms race toward optimization sometimes, because again, if people don't discover your content, just as with a business, Walt Disney said it the best: location, location, location. So if you don't have anybody that's interested in watching you or supporting you in what you do, then you're just not going to be able to continue to create content. We're very lucky. We're very lucky as a show and as a group to do what we do. We focus on our education, we focus on trading, we focus on mentoring, everything that we do professionally as a team and a crew. And YouTube was created to just get our thoughts and opinions out there and share this information in the space, because the reason that we started Cracking Cryptocurrency, at least the show in particular and the trading group in particular as well, is because the lack of good education as far as serious professional trading exists in the space. It's very lacking. All the education out there, I don't want to say all the education, but a good significant portion of the education, and this is true regardless of what asset class that you're trading. This is true in assets, this is true in commodities, this is true in Forex. Lots of the education out there is unhelpful, and the failure rate for traders is extremely high. And that's why I began doing the show, and that's why me and my team began doing the show, because I'm one of the biggest reasons, and I say this a lot, in 2018, and well, this is one of the reasons I continue to be so passionate about it. In 2018, a lot of people that I knew who were in cryptocurrency became very wealthy on paper. And then by the end of 2018, we're no longer wealthy on paper. Floyd, good to see you over there on Twitch, my good man. We're no longer wealthy on paper. So how is it possible that many individuals who got involved in cryptocurrency in 2016, and I'm going to say a good majority of individuals who got involved in cryptocurrency in 2016, were privy to one of the biggest boom cycles that we've seen in recent times? The rapid price appreciation of Bitcoin from 2016 to December of 2017. and then altcoins throughout that same season in different spots in time. So how is it possible that so many individuals, if the education, so let me caveat this, if the education in this space as far as how to trade and how to invest is so good, right? If the general knowledge is so good, then how is it humanly possible that so many people became wealthy on paper over this time period, which was one of the most impressive run-ups that we've ever seen in the history of mankind? Well, in recent history. I want to get crazy with run-ups of mankind because we could talk about the devaluation of the denarii by the Roman Empire, but let's just stick to recent history. And by the end of 2018, we're no longer wealthy on paper. How is that possible if the education in this space is so good? That's not what happened to us. That's not what happened to members of Kraken Cryptocurrency. That's not what happened to the students that we've trained to trade the way that we do, by looking at the dominant trend and knowing when to sell and when to buy, and taking a long-term approach to not only your trading, but also your investing and your wealth over time. And having that long-term approach is what's really going to help individuals figure out this game, figure out how to make money. It is a long game. It is a game of statistics. It is a game of honing your edge. And regardless of what anybody says about the fact that that you can't time the market, or trading is a sucker's game, it's not true. All right, myself and many others and the students that I train make a living off of trading, and it is possible to do. It is not what you see in the movies. It is not generally what people think that it is. It is not generally in any way, shape, or form the way that fake traders, which I would say is the majority of traders in this space, the majority of traders who are on YouTube or on Twitter or wherever they may be, try to purport trading as. What it actually looks like to be a professional, to actually manage money, to actually trade with a significant portion of capital, to manage your risk effectively, and to know how to hone your statistical edge over time, and how to be comfortable in your strategy and not deviate from your strategy. But it is very, very possible. We do it on a daily basis. I continue to do it for a daily basis, as I have for years, and I continue to teach individuals how to do it appropriately. And if the responses that we get from the show and from everybody in the group is any indication, then it is working, and it is working quite well. So shout out to you guys. We're going to have a fantastic month of June, as we had a fantastic month in May, and we're going to continue to crack cryptocurrency throughout this space, through the ups and the downs, regardless of what the news says, regardless of what the fundamentals say, and regardless of what Google does. All right, so I got to be very careful calling out the evil overlords of Google while I am on their platform, YouTube. So Light Rainy, good to see you, and Midwest Attempts, good to see you guys too. All right, so with that being said, let's start breaking down the market. And before we jump into this, I do want to thank all the individuals in the Discord server. And if you guys aren't in the Discord server, make sure to go over and join our community at discord.krakencryptocurrency.com. We have fantastic analysts in there. We have a fantastic community. If you are a trader, if you are a cryptocurrency enthusiast, you're going to find individuals of a like mind to connect with and work with very closely in the Discord community. We've got bots, we've got services. It's a great place to be. So I want to thank everybody who is currently boosting our Discord server, because Discord recently introduced Nitro Server Boost. So individuals who already have Discord Nitro are able to utilize that to boost our server. That makes things better for everybody. We get increased file sharing. We get enhanced audio clarity on our video chats. We get more emojis, which are always fun. And emojis go hand in hand with memes, and memes get us through the bad times. So if you guys are currently boosting our server, you know who you are. Thank you so much. Huge shout out to you. And if you guys would like to support us, I believe we need 6 more Discord Nitro boosts to get to the next level. You guys can go to the Discord, and if you have Discord Nitro, you can boost the server. We would highly appreciate that. Thank you so much for this. And we didn't do a show yesterday. I apologize for that. So thank you to all the well wishes. I did have to take some time to help my father out. There was a bit of an emergency, and everything's fine. But helping him out through his convalescence, I did have to take him to the hospital. We had to have some blood work done, and it continues to be, I don't want to say it's touch and go, because that says, because that's less positive than it really is. Medically, he's recovering quite well. Physically, the road to recovery is quite difficult for the operation that he had. He had a VAD installed, which is a heart device. His heart no longer pumps his own blood, so this device in his chest pumps his own blood, and there's only 10,000 individuals in the world that have one, so it's just kind of one of those things that's complicated, and it requires a lot of care and requires a lot of help. And I'm just lucky enough at my age, I'm 31 years old, to be in the position where I've made intelligent decisions with my life and structured my life in such a way that I'm able to be there of assistance to the individual that has been the greatest mentor and teacher to me in my entire life. Shout out to you, Dad. This one's for you. And let's continue right along now with the show, guys. All right, so here we are on the live scene. here we are on the live scene. And Light Rainy says, too early to request LTC USDC, LMAO. Sure, man, let's throw it up there. Jay Kreutzer says, all I can say is I've learned more with Justin than I've done in the last year. Priceless. Thank you so much, my good friend. Jürgen Ernst, thank you so much, man. And thank you so much, Angie. Appreciate it. Much appreciated, guys. Okay. Let me get a little bit of water. And we've got something different today, guys. I went to the dentist this morning. I don't want to say we're running a little behind, but I did just get home not too. We're drinking out of the Mobile Contigo stainless steel tumbler. And I'm not 100% unconvinced that fluoride is not a mind control scheme invented by dentists to control the world. But my dentist did say something pretty funny this morning. I asked him how he was doing. He's like, oh, saving the world one tooth at a time. Now, I don't know what meme he canged that from, but I thought it was pretty funny. And he must be paying his dental hygienists very well because they just started cracking up. I thought a little excessively. It's like one thing to laugh at your boss's joke. It's another thing to for a group of individuals to fall over laughing. So he does good work on the teeth, and he must pay his employees quite well. So moving on. Shout out to you, Doc. Matt says, go, 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 long, everything going to the moon. All right. Dutch Crypto says, I took some Bitcoin profits from Litecoin just before this pump. Yeah, we're going to look at LTCM 19. Thank you, Jürgen. I try my best, man. Okay, so looking at Bitcoin. All right, so I'm still in my short. All right, let's just preface this with saying that. I am still in my short position, right? Let me actually pull open my... Okay. Average entry price of 78.07 on ByBit. Okay, so about $64 in drawdown right now. Doesn't bother me whatsoever. Fluoride is bad for the brain. I agree. A lot of information out there about that. And last night I did not close out my short position. I put on my headphones. I listened to some Dark Tranquility, as I like to do. I like to listen to good music as I'm doing my trading. That allows me to really focus in. Again, one of the things that's really important about doing your daily scan, about actively coming to the marketplace, sitting down in front of your computer, analyzing your charts, going through your process, writing the information down, calculating your risk, and then executing your positions, and then walking away from the computer, which is how I trade every single day. I do my analysis. I do my daily scan. I enter my information into my trading journal. I calculate my risk with my calculator. I execute my trades, and I walk away. That's it. There's nothing to be done. There's nothing that needs to be done with active management. The more times that you insert yourself into a position to adjust your trade based on your subjective feelings about the market, you are just exponentially increasing the odds that you're going to do something stupid. And I don't mean this towards you. I mean it towards me as well. We are not smarter than the system that we will construct to tell us how to trade, right? Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive, but the simple thing is that the human brain does not, or just general human discipline, how we think on a day-to-day basis, does not construe very well with methodology, with statistical discipline, with mechanical execution. And this is why computers are generally better at doing things that are tasks that are to be repeated over and over and over and over again. Well, trading is no different. Trading is a statistical edge. Now, individuals can come into the market and make great calls and catch great trades subjectively and intuitively. Unfortunately, most of those traders do not last long, do not make it to the rank of professional, and if they're starting off as a professional, generally get kicked out. Who are the highest paid analysts in the world? I've said it time after time. Quants are. Quantitative analysts, individuals who are very good at mathematics, who are very good at statistics, who build advanced computer modeling systems of how to calculate risk and gain a statistical edge over time. That is where the great majority of all the money that is handled by hedge funds, prop shops, prop firms for those uninitiated, investment banks. That is where investment banks a little bit different, but I digress. That is where the majority of all that money cycles to and through. It cycles through quantitative, risk assessed, statistical formulas of exactly where to allocate risk and diversify positions on a day-to-day basis. And that cycles and that updates either depending on how the program is calculated on different timeframes. Okay. So for a human, it behooves us to attempt to copy that modeling as closely as possible, because we know that overall that is the most successful way to execute in the market day in and day out for a long sustained period of time. And I don't know about you, but I do not wish to engage in any activity that is not sustainable. Okay, that's what I initially went to college for. That's what I graduated in, right? Was again, one of the biggest topics of my degree was sustainable growth, was sustainable construction. Originally, what I was going to go on and pursue was sustainable construction after I attained my degree, diversified and entrepreneurial agriculture. So, and that was the first business that I ran, was a CSA, community supported agriculture. I grew organic tomatoes and peppers in a sustainable fashion on an organic farm, and I canned different derivatives of those things, different pepper products, different tomato products, had an industrial kitchen, and ran that business for 3 years. That was my first entrepreneurial thing. That was my first, I wouldn't say my first real job, because I've been working since I was 14, different jobs here and there. But that was my first business fresh out of college. And, the first business that I ever started myself. So punching the clock for somebody else was just never really something that I wanted to do. I've done that throughout time and history, but always desired to work for myself and be my own boss and be in control in general of how much money I could make. And that has allowed me to focus on learning. And again, completely self-taught trader, completely self-taught as far as risk, as far as everything goes. This is 100% me. And I think that's good. Marriage, sustainable. Well, I am a single father, so you can't get everything right, okay? Can't get everything right. We try our best. Try our best, and I'm sure the right woman is out there one day. Yeah, Prozac is based on an analog of fluoride. That is correct. And most fluoride is in the United States, and as far as I'm aware, worldwide, is generated from industrial waste. Zach Coma says Dark Tranquility, Mellow Death from Sweden, Dark Tranquility. Yes, I am actually low key. I used to be non low key, but low key, huge metal fan. I love melodic death metal, especially anything from Gothenburg, Sweden. Opeth is probably one of my favorite bands of all time. Dark Tranquility, really, really good. In Flames, all that stuff. It's really good. Anything that helps me focus in. Now, in my later years, over the last 5 years, I want to say I've developed a real strong liking for EDM and chill hop and jazz, but anything, and classical music as well. Anything that allows my brain to function very well and allow me to focus very intensely, because again, I only trade for about an hour a day. And so I need to be very focused at that point in time when I trade. So music, I find, helps me really focus in. I put the good, nice headphones on. That also helps filter things out, because the worst thing that could possibly happen is when you're sitting down to actually execute, and then somebody knocks on your door or you get a phone call and it just throws you off your axis. And I just hate that. So when it's time for me to trade, everything gets silenced, phones get turned off, headphones go on, and I'm down to the business at hand. Because if I screw this up, then I will pay for it the next day, right? You gotta nail it. You gotta execute it properly. Okay. So let's get back to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, yesterday did put in a little bit of a pump. Now, when I did my daily trading, when I did my analysis, I traded from about about 615 to about 645. Price did not close above the baseline as I was watching it, and I held my short open. Due to the other extenuating factors that I've talked about as well, all technical, all mechanical. Again, would my indicator that I do look at for discretionary purposes have turned against me, I would exit my position. It did not yesterday. And in fact, let's go ahead and pull up the display. I've been using this one on the stream, which I think is very good. I think this is a very good indicator if you do not have a discretionary indicator or an exit indicator on your chart. I do find that this one works quite well. It's much better than not having one, and we speed it up a little bit. Okay, so as we can see, RVGI has not crossed under as well. In fact, it's done quite the opposite. We'll see what it does over the next few days. Again, if my system tells me to exit my trade, I will exit my trade in a loss. It is not telling me to exit my trade at this point in time. All we are seeing is consolidation underneath the baseline. This is completely natural. This is to be expected. And if price does break back above the baseline and put in some good volume, then we'll be looking to take more trades to the upside. And we'll have seen this as just a brief deviation in Bitcoin's price. Now, again, as I've said many times, you never want to be the guy that is reversal trading a strong trend, right? You never want to be the guy that's reversal trading a strong trend. So, for example, let's look at some situations in the market where it was in general more profitable to be out of Bitcoin and trading other assets than be in Bitcoin. You don't always have to be in a Bitcoin position, and most people think that you do. The reality is, from a trader's perspective, Bitcoin is just another asset. Now, do I feel differently about Bitcoin fundamentally than I do about any other altcoin in the space? And do I feel differently fundamentally about Bitcoin than I do about a large majority of other things in general out there? Yes, I'm very passionate about Bitcoin. I'm very passionate about Bitcoin's mission statement. But from a trader's perspective, I am agnostic. When I get down to the business of making money out of the market, I cannot take those things into account. I cannot take how I feel about something or how I like something or what I want as an investor. That's a completely different hat from a trader, okay? So there are times in the market where there is no Bitcoin position to be taken the way that I trade. And that's okay because we have over 100 different other coins to trade, right? And we trade on multiple platforms. There's certain coins we can go short on. There's certain coins that we can go long on. Most of the coins in general, we can only go long on. We'll see how that develops over the next few years. I assume that probably within 5 years, the space will be even more fleshed out than it is today. And you'll be able to easily go long or short on just about any coin that you want. Again, I think that we're going to have less coins by the time that rolls around. I don't think that many of the coins that exist today will be around by that time. I don't think that many coins that exist today have staying power as investments or would be actively traded, but we'll see. There have been penny stocks around that suck for decades. So there will probably be our penny stock cryptocurrencies as well, which is essentially when we're looking at risk profiles and risk assessment, kind of where they sit now, the majority of cryptocurrencies. Market capitalization is very. Try listening to Bolt Thrower. I've heard of Bolt Thrower. I think aren't they a little harder though? I don't think that's like melodic death metal. I'm okay with some melodic death metal. 6 Feet Under, Behemoth, is pretty good. I like them. Cradle of Filth. I know that's controversial. Cradle of Filth isn't real metal, but whatever. I like them. And even chiller stuff like Nightwish is good. Therion is really good. I really like Therion. Inomine is one of my favorites. So anyways, getting back to the market. So let's talk about situations where it was much more profitable to be out of Bitcoin than in Bitcoin. So as we can see, and as identified by Minx in our entire strategy, on March 26, 2019, excuse me, that must be the fluoride. Okay, so March 26, 2019, we got a confirmed long signal on Bitcoin. BTC-USD, we're on the Bitstamp chart, the XBT-USD chart. It gives almost identical signals as well. We can go and reference if you want sometimes. It's generally almost always the same candle. Sometimes it's a day late, sometimes a day early, but I digress. So anyways, this is a good long signal, and that was a good signal to take. We, again, took profit, let's see here, on the pullback, but as price pulled back down, we can actually see where RVGI, for example, gets us out of the trade. RVGI crosses under. Let's actually pull open the data window because sometimes when you're looking at the actual cross, I want to make sure 4975. Yeah, so not this candle, but on the 5th of April, RVGI would have gotten us out. So the 5th of April is when we would have been out of that long trade, and that's good. That's good. From here to here, I mean, you captured the great majority of that movement. I mean, who really cares that you gave up this extra 10%? You captured here. You captured 24%. So great. Is there opportunity in there to increase your margin? Of course, for sure. Sure, you could have. We get a continuation long signal here, and that gets us in for another 6 to 8% of profit. And then another confirmed long signal here. All right. And when we get that another confirmed long signal, price makes a good move. Price moves to the upside. Okay. Up here, we got a few continuation longs that allowed us, after a little bit of drawdown, to capitalize on this last movement in Bitcoin. The last continuation long signal that we did get was a loss. Again, we streamed that live, right? We took that trade, took that loss, price closed below the baseline right here, and we were lucky to be out of that long position at that point in time. So that's all right. Many good wins on the way up. And a transition period toward the end. Again, we're not reversal traders. And then we took the short on Bitcoin. Has it generated massive profit yet? No, of course not. Is it guaranteed to generate massive profit? Of course not. The market's going to do what the market's going to do. I just believe and know that my system gets me on the right side of the market the greater majority of times than it does not. So what do I see now? I see that price is breaking down below the baseline and consolidating beneath the baseline. And every time we run up to touch the baseline, we reject from it, right? So support has become resistance, just as we saw. I'm trying to think of a good example, not in recent. I digress. So one key thing to note is that we have not seen this kind of activity below the baseline for a while with this amount of volatility. We did see a break below the baseline here, but if you look very closely, it's not really impressive. Price goes below the baseline. There's a very low volatility for about 4 days, and then we just break right back above and we go back on moon mission, and that's totally fine. That's a movement that we caught. This looks different. Now, can it generate the same thing if we close back above the baseline? Can we have another impressive leg of this Bitcoin rally? Absolutely. Of course we can. But that's not what's being signaled to us right now. It's not going to happen overnight. People want to talk about, these massive movements in Bitcoin. And yes, like for example, this candle is very impressive, right? But again, it led to more upside. And that 12% trade was most likely the safest trade. Now, naturally, because our system is a little bit more efficient, we were able to get in earlier and catch that. But that doesn't matter. Look at the signal here. And any trend following trader is going to get into a Bitcoin long somewhere around here. The worst trend following system is going to give you some kind of signal around here. Now, let me back up a little. The cruciality, Foes 93. It's discord.crackencryptocurrency.com. Let me send you the link, man. Thank you for watching over there. Armacida, thank you, man. You are the man. Thank you, brother. Thank you guys for watching over there on DLive as well. Sorry, I'm really, really thirsty. I think it's all the flora they put on. Okay. The important part of being a trend following trader like I am is filtering out losses. And PTP, the course that I teach, is entirely designed to instruct you how to create your own technical strategy, how to understand why you need multiple components in your strategy, how they all work together, how to test them, how to optimize them, what tools to use to actually execute your trades, to go from, and this is something, again, why I started PTP in the first place. Everybody wants to talk about, well, this indicator does this and this indicator does that. Who is out there teaching, okay, how do you go from charts to calculator to charting to execution software? How do you do that? And what is the proper way? What is workflow? What is psychology? What is the discipline behind doing this? What time of day do you trade? From what hours? What do you need to be looking for? What are mitigating factors? When do you enhance risk? Do you decrease risk? What are different position sizes? How do you position size in the first place? All that's covered in the course. In fact, last night we dropped the new risk management premium webinar for all the Premium Plus members in the trading group. So make sure you guys go check that out, as well as the advanced position size calculator and trading journal. So that's now available to everybody else. People have been waiting on that for a few weeks. It was a significant update over our last position size calculator. And so we now have risk management 201 out and risk management 301, which is going to be a little bit of a collaboration as well between all of our analysts and traders, and even some input from outside, from individuals who want to talk about statistical analysis, who want to talk about the different nature of futures contracts, of inverse futures contracts, and the difference between trading a spot exchange, for example, Kraken USD, where you can choose XBT as your margin or USD as your margin, and what those nuances are when you come over into the inverse futures contract, because there are little changes that you want to make if you're attempting to optimize your profit. So, from a technical standpoint, looking at Bitcoin right now, I'm not really impressed with its movement. I am in a short position. I do feel that that's the safest place to be in this market. The entire amount of my BTC position is hedged as well, in addition to having a full risk trade on Bitcoin. All right. So the funds that I have on Binance are in USDT. The funds that I have on Coinbase are in USD, except for the Bitcoin that is in active positions. Because again, I move from USDT or USD into Bitcoin to take alt to Bitcoin trades every night in a situation where price is below the baseline, and I remain actively hedged on platforms like ByBit. The majority of my trading I'm doing on ByBit. However, also have capital on Deribit and BitMEX as well, generally on BitMEX for the purposes of taking altcoin to XBT trades, because I do not trade XBT or Ethereum raw on BitMEX anymore. I do not trade Ethereum on Deribit anymore. I only trade Ethereum USD on ByBit, and I do I'm going to say 85% of all my BTC to USD trading on ByBit as well. So there's a link down in the description if you'd like to check out ByBit. If you're not using ByBit, it does support the show, and that is the platform that I trade on. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. So there's really nothing to be done now. We'll go down through the lower time frames. If we look at what we have WADA ATAR above the explosion level, printing a red bar. That is a bearish signal in and of itself, but it is not an initiation signal to take a short because we have no rising explosion level. WADA generated an entry signal for a short on the very same candle that Minx signaled a short trade, which was the close of the 3rd of June. So anybody that also took the reversal trade off of the baseline had a profitable movement here and is also having a profitable movement here. Now, we're going to see which way price moves out of this consolidation, and we'll be trading in that direction. Again, should price break above on decent volume, then that will be an indication to exit our position and be looking for longs. Again, we do need to get a signal to go long. Exiting a short is not an indication to take a long. It's just an indication to risk. Ertug, hopefully it's Ertug 90. Thank you so much for the follow over there on Twitch, my good friend. Welcome to the community. So let's go down through the lower time frames and see if anything was signaled. We are getting a continuation short signal on the close of this 12-hour candle. Let's see here. 8-hour charts signaled a long, and it's good that we did not take that because we do not take any lower time frame trades that are against the direction of the daily time frame. Same with the 6-hour long right here. We would not have taken that, nor would we have taken this one. No short signals here. 4-hour generated a long as well. You most likely could have scraped at least take profit 1 out of that. Let's actually check. No, that would have been a loss, and a good thing too, because we do not take longs when the daily is beneath the baseline. And this is overall just, what's really nice about this is just overall everything is telling you to stay out of the market. You have gotten a short signal, like you got a short signal here. That would have been a profitable move if you would have stayed in the trade. And you did get a 4-hour short signal on the close of the previous 4-hour candle. But overall, the daily is generally telling you to just hold on to your short or wait. And that's good. There are times where there's profitable moves to be taken in Bitcoin, and there's times when it's best to just sit on your hands and hold a position open in the direction of the dominant trend, which right now is not to the downside because the dominant trend has not started to the downside. We're just in the early stages of a downtrend having a high probability to form. So we're on the side of that trade. Should price break back above and continue its bullish trend, again, we'll be on that side of the market then and make that adjustment. Nothing to do at this time. All right, so let's get over to Ethereum. It's going to look pretty much lockstep, identical. USD on Coinbase. Gremlins. Okay, so let's bring that up. Ethereum USD on Coinbase on the daily time frame is looking quite similar. We did get our initial short signal on this candle. That already did generate some profit. Let's look at the continuation short that was signaled on the close of this candle right here. And currently you'd be about 4 to 5% drawdown on that trade so far. WADA ATAR actually signaling primary shorts over the last 4 candles, but we use those in conjunction with Minx as well. And again, very similarly, consolidating and closing beneath the baseline so far. So no long trades to be taken until such time as Ethereum does break above and close and go on another bullish rally. Obviously, the opportunities right now are in scanning your altcoin markets, and obviously LTC M19, which is a trade that we are still in. So I have about 20% left of my Litecoin position. I have a trailing stop loss activated. Let's go. We'll go over and look at LTCM19 here in a little bit as well. It's been one of our better trades for the last week, naturally. And I just want to point out the very similar price action of Ethereum and and Bitcoin, which is what we're going to see almost all the time. You guys are very familiar with that. But if we look at the relationship between Ethereum and the baseline, Ethereum a little bit more volatile. Ethereum had a more pronounced run up, about a 60% run up, as opposed to Bitcoin, and then consolidated much more dramatically. Breaking down above and below the baseline, giving us basically this no trade area. And this is good because pretty much our entire system told us to stay out of this trade. And that is what differentiates. A good trend following system from a bad trend following system. The problem with most trend following traders is that they have heard that most professional traders are trend followers, and they attempt to trade in that fashion. Unfortunately, all they ever do is try one indicator out or a couple indicators out without an understanding of how the entire system needs to come together to comprehensively form a system that mitigates risk and enhances your opportunity to catch profitable movements. That's what PT is entirely designed to do, and that's what I teach individuals. Callum Davis, thank you so much for the subscription over there on YouTube, man. Welcome to the community. So, not a whole lot to say about Ethereum as well. Still holding my short position open that I have had since the close of this candle right here, and just patiently waiting, as Eminem would say, for my day to explode. All right, and it's very similar with Bitcoin. Should price break back above the baseline, then we will pivot and we will go back into a long position if such a signal is generated. However, if we do get a nice close above the baseline, then that will be our short position, which is good because generally when we get on one side of the baseline, we tend to continue in that direction for quite a while. Let's see. Okay, so having said that, go check out the bubbles. And I'm going to say that overall today is a bearish day, but it's not a terrible day, okay? There are more coins down than are up, but overall it is a Christmas tree day. So a little bit of consolidation. We're seeing some coins pump and some coins dump. Bitcoin dominance continues to drop, and this is good for altcoins. Good for altcoins. And again, I think that this is typically what happens when we go through our transition period from Bitcoin shifting into an uptrend. From an uptrend into a downtrend, of course, that could change on a dime. But it's opportunities like this where Bitcoin is fairly stable and moving sideways and kind of chopping, where altcoins are going to see price appreciation. And for good reason, because individuals like me are going to look at the Bitcoin chart and we're going to say, I don't want anything to do with that right now except to hold my short open, and I'm going to go play on altcoins. Of course, I scan the market every single day. I trade every single coin that is available on Binance, ByBit, BitMEX, or Deribit. I look at them every single day, and I take the trades that my system gives me. So having said that, by the way, guys, this is the new Kraken Cryptocurrency tie-dye t-shirt. Added this to the store last night. So, of course, if you guys have been waiting for a tie-dye shirt of your choice, you guys can go check that out. Added some new baby gear on there as well. Bought my daughter some Kraken Crypto shirts. Okay. GBU Wally, hey, what's going on, my good man? Send in the super chat. I've got to... So here's the thing. Oh, I know how to... Gotta go over here. GBU Professor Wally coming with a $15 super chat, my good man. He says, death metal and Eminem mentioned within 5 minutes of each other. Only missing Lil Wayne and Trace Atkins for the All Corners Award. Learn, earn, and don't get burned. Shout out to you, my good friend. Thank you so much for the donation and the support, my good friend. Shout out to Gunbot University and Wally as well. Thank you, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Live chat. What site is on your background? This is cryptobubbles.net. People are still talking about the fluoride. Okay, I created a monster. Nobody wants to see video chop. So let's scroll up a little bit. I will say that, okay, so you guys know that I'm pretty anti-astrology type nonsense, right? New Age, spiritualism, blah, 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 blah. I'm pretty down to earth kind of guy. Not that I don't believe that there's a lot of mental benefit to a lot of that stuff, but I think that it's mostly psychological. Um, Now, I'm a huge fan of things like sensory deprivation tanks. I'm a huge fan of meditation. I meditate. I'm a huge fan of discipline and self knowledge. But I think that there are practical reasons, and I think the practical reasons are more inspiring and more powerful than mystical explanations of why these things are important. It is totally natural to feel a firm to feel centered and ground in the greater fabric of reality as a conscious entity, as a existing conscious creature, right? Um, there's no need to take it into mysticism, okay? Any mystical explanation for the way the universe works is an inadequate explanation. Mysticism is simply reality misunderstood, in my personal opinion. So not to say that there's nothing to spirituality or anything like that, but not the way that it's portrayed. Okay, it's not something that you have to. It's not something that like comes to you in divine whispers, like because you're a star child or something like that. Um, it's a natural law of the universe that we can discover and use to benefit our own lives. For example, if you get up every morning, make your bed and brush your teeth, you are going to be a more successful person. Period. If you're not making your bed right now, start there. Start making your bed, as the famous Dr. Jordan B. Peterson says. Yes, I do listen to the Joe Rogan podcast. Not as much as I used to, man, but when I get the opportunity, I try. He has some really good guests on there. Generally, I try to cherry pick the best. But the thing about that is that he's going to have people that you would never think would have insightful things to say who say really good things. I tend to avoid, here's what I like. I tend to avoid the musicians and artists and producers and people like that. You know, for the most part, they all say interesting things, but it's kind of all the same stuff. There's generally not anything impressive there. But scientists and physicists who he has on, and those people are say some of the greatest things. Oh, but what I was going to say about fluoride was that I do kind of like Edgar Cayce's writings. For those of you who aren't familiar with Edgar Cayce, just go Google him. He was a prophet, so to speak, who lived in America. He could apparently heal people from distances. He could apparently know the future, things like that. So I don't know, a lot about that. I don't really think that's necessarily the case. I do think that there are people out there who might have the power to do special things, but I don't think that there's a mystical explanation for that. I think that there is either an evolutionary explanation for that. I think that there is likely a genetic explanation for that. I think that there is likely there are explanations for these things. Things just don't happen randomly in the universe. That's not the way the universe works. The universe is a clock. The universe works a certain way. There are rules to the universe that as conscious creatures, it is our role, basically, in our growth and development as a species and as personal individuals to discover those rules. Mathematics is one of those rules. Humans didn't invent mathematics. We discovered mathematics, right? Humans didn't invent science. We discovered science. Chemistry, physics. We didn't invent any of that stuff. Those were natural laws of the universe that understanding them gives us a greater experience in this universe, that we have to learn over time. Any kind of anything that is currently explained by mysticism or spirituality is just what science doesn't understand yet. Period. At least that's my personal opinion. And again, you're free to disagree. I'm kind of interested to know what you guys think. I'm sure there's probably a lot of different opinions on both sides of the aisle. I never want to come on the show and say that I have all the answers, but that's just like the best that I've come to. But what Edgar Cayce had said about fluoride is that, yeah, fluoride can be very helpful in certain water conditions. He said it's the minerals and compounds that are in the water source. So that's why Edgar Cayce was against, because Edgar Cayce lived, early last century. And that's when large-scale fluoridation of American water supplies began. And he was very vocal about the fact that just adding fluoride to all water supplies, based on what we've discovered that fluoride can do, was bad because fluoride in fluoride reacts differently with individuals' metabolisms, with individuals' body chemistry, based upon the type of water that it's in, right? And I don't claim to understand or know any of that stuff. And it's not that I necessarily believe this. I just think it's interesting, right? Because I do know that anything in isolation is not necessarily true in the wild, right? So the fact that introducing fluoride into a water supply here and doing tests off of that does not mean that you are not going to have unforeseen consequences introducing that same type of fluoride into different water systems. And again, there's different ions of fluoride, to the best that I'm aware, right? Again, where are they getting the fluoride? Is it there's lots of complications and nuance from going from theory to actual practice in real life. Mistakes are made, and when you make those mistakes and when you don't take certain things into account because the universe is complicated, then you're going to run into problems later on. You're going to have unforeseen consequences. So I think that whether or not that's true, I definitely don't think that's ludicrous that applying fluoride to all water supplies is going to have the same effect that applying fluoride to certain water supplies will do. Okay. But I do agree that from the studies that I've seen, and again, I just went to the dentist. I have fluoride on my teeth. I drink fluoride. Okay, so it's nothing that I'm psycho about or anything. I know this is really, really, really. I think this is really a heated topic of conversation. I don't really think that fluoride is being introduced into the water supplies to mind control mankind. But I do know that fluoride, the active chemical fluoride, can be utilized to achieve what's the word that I'm looking for? It can make individuals docile. I don't know if that's necessarily how it works in water. I don't know. I'm not a chemist. If one of you guys is a chemist, let me know. I know we got PhDs in the trading group. One of you guys has got to know the answer. But again, it's one of those controversial. So Elo and Garita. Hey, what's going on? Says, Justin, I find it hard to trade alts at moments like this. Bitcoin correlation, it's still strong with the other alts, right? I've been on USDT2 these past few days. So I tend not to look at things like Bitcoin alt correlation. That's why I rely on my technical strategy, because there are going to be times when Bitcoin's very bearish and you're going to find that altcoin that's going to give you a signal to go long. And in general, we're going to be best served by just taking every signal that our strategy gives us once we have it fully developed and fleshed out. The reason why is because every asset is tradable in the marketplace independently. So there's always going to be opportunities for individuals to go in and buy up a coin and create a demand for it. And whether that's happening for a fundamental reason or whether that's happening just through the marketplace doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if there was a news event or a fundamental event or if there was an upgrade or an Ask Me Anything. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. So the chart will tell you what coins have the highest probability to appreciate. And often in situations like this, where Bitcoin is consolidating but leaning bearish, in my analysis, we're going to see good altcoin to Bitcoin price appreciation. There's going to be very good opportunities. And when we do shift from bearish to bullish and bullish to bearish overall in Bitcoin's trend, sometimes you can run into some choppy waters, and we will be in drawdown sometimes as trend following traders who are just taking every signal, but that all averages out. And the opportunity loss from just deciding to not participate in the marketplace and saying that because of some fundamental reason we're not going to trade right now or take the signals that our system is giving us, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that, because if we do that, we're going to miss out on good opportunities, because there's always going to be good opportunities to take. And when Bitcoin does shift more bearish and enter into a more pronounced downtrend, we're just going to get less signals. That's the way that trend following works out. It all filters out. Like right now, we're getting a lot of signals because a lot of things are bullish or consolidating. And the majority of our filters are keeping us out of the trades that are consolidating, that are not going to generate a trend. We're going to enter into some, of course, and that's why we have multiple early exits that get us out of a trade earlier. But so that we don't have to hit our stop loss. That's the way that our entire thing is designed. However, when the scales shift toward more bearish pronounced activity and bearish trend, we're just going to get less signals. It's not always like it is. That's why I'm very, 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 very active. And right now, the daily scan is taking quite a long time. It's generally taking longer than it normally does. When the market, like for example, through like a big majority of 2018, the daily scan took about 15, 20 minutes, you know? So Homer Simpson drank too much. That's got to be it, Moonshine Fuel. the Simpsons opening when he's got the where he's got the radioactive ore and he's like walking and he's in the radioactive bodysuit. That was fluoride. That was a fluoride ion. Elo says your system works. Most of our trades on alts are green. Awesome, man. Glad to hear you're doing well. Mr. Ether says I'm listening today. Did you see my results chart? No, I didn't, man. Did you post it on your Twitter? Go check it out. 9 minutes till the break. Geez, excuse me, guys. Sorry. I don't even eat breakfast. Full keto, baby. Bulletproof coffee over in here. Let's see. I'm trying to... For some reason, I'm having difficulty just clicking add new tab and typing in twitter.com. Here we go. Oh, hey, make sure you guys go, if you guys have the Spectre Security Coin wallet, make sure that you guys go update that. They did just update to 0.17.1. I updated last night. We'll open. Just a second. Yeah, version 1.0.1.7-1. So make sure you guys go update to the latest wallet update. Very active development over there. Spectre Security Coin. Shout out to the whole team. All right, Mr. Ether says, are you an oral surgeon or just... Stop it, dude. Is that your results, man? Oh, awesome, man. You're being way active on here. Well, I'm gonna have to check out your stream, man. Get a hold of me in the Discord. Figure something out. Thank you, Go BTC. Floydie says, all I know is you have a lot less fillings than me. I've got a couple, man. Let's see here. Reese in Discord says, Wada called the perfect XBT short on the 1 hour chart. Awesome, man. Midwest Attempts says that Minx called a 12-hour long. Yes. And we would not take that. At the same time, it plots the closed short position. So to understand that, okay, so what you're saying is it plots the closed short position, so take profit on a short, when I turn on plot reversals against the trend, because that's what a reversal is in Minx. So a reversal in Minx is when the system is in oversold conditions and then crosses. When you get a take profit on a long, it's in overbought conditions and crosses. There's a little bit more nuance to that. It's not the cross actually itself. It's a little bit more nuance than that, to be quite honest with you. But so a take profit signal in Minx is going to be the same, because think about it. If you're in a position and the system is telling you to take profit, it's telling you that there is a high probability that price is going to reverse and move in the opposite direction. So if you're plotting raw reversals against the trend, that's the exact same. The calculation in Minx is the exact same thing as a take profit. So a raw reversal is a take profit, and a take profit is a raw reversal. The only reason that I have them in there differently is because it displays different text. On 799 says Bitcoin USD on Coinbase did close above the baseline, though. Yes, it did close above the baseline. Michael Weston has spring water filtered through the top grade filter. So I use tap water filtered through Brita. Being real from you guys. It looks like another E2 chat maybe starting. Yeah, I'm a little behind on the chat, man. Smoking DMT will make you instantly a mystic star child. I am, you know what? I am very supportive. I don't do substances, but I am supportive of utilizing. I don't want to say experimenting because I don't mean like, hey man, again, I don't want to piss anybody off, but I don't do substances, whatever. But I think that there is a lot of benefit to whether it's psilocybin or whether it's LSD or whether it's DMT, I think that there can be really good benefit. For example, I'm very pro legalization of substances just based off libertarian principles, that no outside entity has the right to tell me what I can do with anything nobody can tell me what I can and can't ingest. Okay. I don't think that anybody else has that right. A parent has that right for their child. When somebody is an adult and has been justified an adult by the larger society at large, then there's nothing you should do. Now, do I think that we as a society should kind of like get our stuff together and actually develop just like we had for thousands of years before we kind of just lost our minds? Like it seems like, listen, so many things, for example, like relationships, okay? How to raise children, how neighbors should interact, how what was property, what was okay and what wasn't. Like humans understood this stuff for thousands of years, and then just in the last like maybe 100 years, 200 years, in my opinion, like we just lost our goddamn minds. Like nobody knows how to do anything anymore, and it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Most things are pretty straightforward, pretty simple. There are very few things that need lots of oohing and ahhing about. And how to be a good person should not be one of those. Just be excellent towards one another. So, what I meant by that is we should have coming of age, like qualifications and rituals and things like that. I mean, I think that's very natural. It's very important for a young man. It's very important for a young woman. You can have a good balance between personal freedom and liberty, and also, hey, this is how humans do stuff. They're not mutually codependent. Set people up for success by letting them know how to best achieve things in life, right? There's certain mental habits, there's certain practices that are going to be very conducive to success later on down the road, whether you're a man or whether you're a woman. And some of those things are gender specific too. And that is the role of adults and society, to especially local society. It all has to be local. That's where the most strength. If your local community isn't strong, then it doesn't matter what your national community. You don't believe in angels, but in angles. Nice. It's funny though, saying you don't believe in spirituality or astrology, but go on to quote Edgar Cayce. So it's not that I don't believe in spirituality or astrology. It's that I don't think that the correct term is spirituality or astrology. I think that the correct term is science misunderstood. Mike Weston says, yo, Justin had to log into Twitch. Can't let you mention math without getting my 2 cents in. Math is created. The applications are discovered. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. And I'm probably wrong. The hell do I know, right? I'm just a trader. Mr. Addy Cool, thanks so much for the subscription on YouTube. But it seems to me like, yeah, okay, so are the numbers invented? Sure. But is the concept of how the numbers work, like, instead of 1 + 1, we could say like 8 plus, like we could say that. But the concept, the mental construction of these numbers working together, and then when you start building advanced, complicated systems off of that. So maybe that's what you mean. Maybe I'm just being dumb. I'm probably am. Zach says, I work in civil engineering. I'll ask around regarding fluoride. They won't tell you. You're in the middle of the machine, man. Midwest Attempt says, using PTP, I currently have 19 open trades in alts, Bitcoin, BTCs, and only 5 of them are barely in drawdown at the moment, no larger than -1. Awesome, man. People in this chat room stole my tinfoil. Errol Suleiman, and then I'm going to take a break real quick, guys. Says, not in Litecoin, sold out too early. How would I re-enter if I was not in a position? My thoughts are appreciated. So this is really important. So, and this is what we have to understand. With Litecoin. Now, Litecoin is doing very, very well. There will be an opportunity to re-enter it, but that is not right now. If you are not in Litecoin, and I don't want anybody to get upset with me because I'm going to be very, very clear about this. I have no clue what Litecoin is going to do. It could run up another 9,000%. It could run up another 20%. And you will wish that you would have gotten that trade. You don't want to. Why? Because if you develop a habit of jumping into parabolic movements where you have no business entering, you are eventually going to incur more loss than win. Okay? You need to develop a strategy of when you're going to enter. Besu FX Trader, thanks so much for joining us over there on YouTube. You need to develop a strategy that you're going to stick to and not deviate from that. Because if you start deviating from it just because there's profit potential on this trade, that is going to come around and bite you in the ass eventually, and it's going to take a huge chunk out of you. It really, really will. It really will. There are so many trades that I have had to sit out of, but if I had hopped in, I could have made money in the short term. But in the long run, I would lose way more money by taking undisciplined trades than I would ever take. So to answer your question more specifically from a technical perspective, we're going to look at Litecoin when I get back. We'll start off with Litecoin as I get back. Then we're going to look at traditional markets and Forex and then answer questions, guys. So don't go anywhere. If you guys want to help support the show, make sure if this is your first time here and you enjoy the content and you like what you're hearing, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, there's also a beautiful follow button over there on DLive and Twitch, and a thumbs up on Facebook Live as well. Make sure to share us to your family and friends and people you don't even like. And of course, there are links down in the description if you'd like to support the show further by utilizing ByBit, which is the platform that I trade on, or Windscribe, which is the VPN that I use. Thank you guys so much for the support, and we'll be right back. And we're back, guys. One last fluoride comment from Jürgen Ernst. Says, Nazi Germany did not use fluoride in camps. Totally debunked myth based on some idiot's comments at a Florida council hearing. You heard it here, guys. I trust Jürgen Ernst 100%. Midwest, send me some screenshots of that and we'll go over it. I know one little bug that I got to fix in it. And generally, that's what I like to do. But Michael Weston says he's daft. I don't know. You guys are getting really hardcore about the fluoride. All right, okay. Brita does not filter out fluoride or heavy metals. I guess that's why I'm such a good trader. I mean, I don't know. Light Rainy says, I may or may not have meditated on DMT, depending on the legality of my content. But if I did, I could tell you it was amazing, and I'd love to drink ayahuasca. On 799 says, so if I primarily look at Coinbase chart, wouldn't that have been a signal for me to go long? No. Price closing above the baseline is not a signal to go long. Did anyone say anything about the shape of the planet? You guys are awesome, man. I must be a Capricorn? No, I'm not. Can I chart fluoride in the water? Which indicator should I use? You should definitely use Fibonacci and stochastics. Okay, Kitten caught up with the chat now. Okay. Yes, I was like 20 minutes behind in chat. It takes a lot to scroll through. Let's see here. Okay, so Zilliqua BTC and LTC USDT we will look at. Get over into our main diversified, and we'll start off with LTC USDT. Okay. So let's go and take a look at the last 4 signals that were generated by the system. Let's see here. We go for this as well. So this trade right here, get dirty with. So this trade right here, we would not have taken on the 2nd of May because WADA, our trend up is not above our explosion level, and we need that confirmation. So, yep. So this trade right here, we would not have taken. We could have taken it. No, we couldn't have taken any of those trades, which is good, Our system filters out the loss, and this is exactly what I meant by price closing above the baseline is not a signal to go long. It is a prerequisite for going long. Raw53, thank you so much for the subscription on YouTube as well. Now, let's see here. This signal we would not have taken. Potentially this one. That's discretion, but this one we could have. So right here, most likely, I would not have entered into this trade, but I would have entered here because we do close back down below our qualifying line into our buy zone. And because of that, I would have caught this move right here. So I would have hit 2 of 3 take profits on that trade from entering on right here on the 11th of May, 2019. And I would have caught that movement there for about 20% profit. Next long signal that we get is here. We're able to get this pullback or this pullback almost to the baseline, which however we enter, whether we enter here or here or here, I would have tried to get in on these pullbacks, and then price goes up about 20% as well. And then the last long signal from LTC USDT was right here. Either entering here or on these pullbacks and catching this move. I didn't take this trade on LTC USDT because the signal here isn't very clear. In fact, you could make a good argument, a very good argument, that you would have not entered this trade using WADA. Now, the volume is there on that trade. The volume is there on that trade, but if you're using WADA, most likely you don't take this trade. If you're applying discretion, maybe you get a pullback here within the buy zone, or maybe you have another element of your system. But for me, this is not a trade I would have taken, LTC USDT. Now, LTC M19 is a trade that I did take at full risk. Okay. Go look at where I entered long. Right here on the 4th of June is when I went long on LTC M19. As you can see, the system throws up a continuation long signal right here. And I've hit 2 or 3 of 3 take profits, and I have a trailing stop loss activated with negative 0.0007 trail value on BitMEX. And whenever that gets hit, I'll be out of the trade. Signaling another continuation long on this candle as well. Ace of Spades 26NW says, any thoughts on using the ADX indicator? Been trying to learn it lately to recognize trends. So I've gone back and forth with the ADX indicator. I don't think that it's very good. I don't think that the bullish and bearish momentum lines are very good at all. I think that ADX can be a okay volume or volatility indicator. It's not a volume indicator, but volatility, which is essentially measuring a very close thing as well, which we can use for the same purposes of confirming a trade, confirming a signal. I think that the ADX can be used well as a zero cross indicator or as a centered oscillator if you use it in such a fashion. Not in a I don't think that it's the best. I think that there's way better things out there. Like, for example, I think that Wadatar Explosion is much better. I think that the Hawkeye indicator is much better, for example. Now, there are going to be derivatives of ADX because there are lots of different modified versions of ADX that I think are going to work a lot better and that I find work a lot better in general. I don't use ADX in my trading. It's one of those things that I've kind of gone back and forth on because there's times when I've looked at it and thought that I could use it, and times when I tried to use it, but just overall, I didn't get the results that I wanted from it, and that's why I use the system that I use today. But that doesn't mean that you cannot play around with it and find a good way to learn it. But I would highly recommend, from my experience, if you're going to use the ADX indicator, take that bull and bear momentum off. Those things are just a waste of time. They're not very helpful. But the ADX itself is not too bad. Shakao Lumis, hopefully I said that right. Maybe it's Shaka Lumise. Thank you so much for the subscription over there on YouTube. Would you give the Beyond Meat stock 15 seconds of your time? It's doing some funny moves. Sure. I like looking at what's the ticker? Is it BM? I've looked at the Beyond Meat ticker before as well. Henry Weinecker, thank you so much for the $2 super chat, my good friend. Thoughts on trading out of the... I lost it. I got to go over here to YouTube. Sorry, man. Thoughts of trading out of YGYI into Zynga. Sure, let's check it out. So you want to get out of YGYI and you want to get into Zynga. Okay, so let's start there. Youngativity International. Okay. So, all right, over on the SIBO. So this is not something that I would have bought. In fact, had I had the opportunity to short this, I would have shorted right here. Let's see, actually, I probably wouldn't have been able to. Let's actually throw Rodrigo back on and see what the qualifier is. Here, I could have taken the trade on the 30th of May when I could have taken the trade. And you can see the last long signal was on the 24th of April, 2019, gets us into this trend. In fact, we get a continuation long here, which allows us to capture this last little bit of profit. So the information that you're going to hear from my style of trading is going to be different than other people are going to be. I ride trends. So let's look at this from a couple different standpoints. So price is quite low on YGYI, and we're quite far away from the baseline. We're in an overall bearish trend. We just saw a fairly volatile movement to the downside. So based upon that, are there better circumstances in which price could put in a reversal and get you back into price appreciation. Now, again, I don't know when you entered. If you were holding from somewhere up here, the situation becomes a little bit more psychologically difficult for you, more financially difficult. If you entered somewhere around here, or if you just got in recently, then we're talking about a completely different thing. If we're talking about a very recent entry, so somewhere within the last 3 days where you're likely up a little bit or around break even, or even if you would have entered maybe on this candle and you're a slight loss, this is definitely a trade that I would exit immediately. Just run, just drop it and don't look back. If you entered up here, I would still do the same thing. I'm not an individual who will ever hold on to a position just because I want it to recover. That is a lesson that I learned very early on. It is one of the biggest mistakes that traders make. It is the absolutely worst thing you can do. It doesn't matter if price comes back and you could have sold at less of a loss. The point to learn, the lesson to learn from the trade is that we never should have entered into something that had a bearish trend in the first place. Reversal trades have a very low probability of success. So I'm not going to assume or understand exactly where you did enter. On 799, do you use any of your PTP strategies on stocks? When I traded equity, yes. When I traded equity, yes. When I first began trading Forex, I did not. When I first began trading Forex, due to the qualifications of the way that I had to trade based on my investors, I had to trade lower time frames, and I utilized different methods when I initially began trading Forex. As I began scaling that out and trading more less investor capital, then I traded PTP and was very, very successful in that. PTP works very good whatever you're trying to trade. It's the concept of trend following and having a structure of indicators that tell you exactly what to do when. So, and I'm going to be returning to the Forex markets. I don't have a hard date on it, but it's going to be soon. It's going to be within the next few months. We're already doing Forex on air, and we're going to be providing that as well for signal generation in the group, as well as education and mentoring. So, okay, so we've looked at YGYI. This doesn't look good, and let's go look at Zynga. Okay, so Zigna looks better. Zigna is in an uptrend. But I don't see a good signal now. Let's look at, okay, so we opened here, opened at 573. We closed at 549. That's a darn shame. I just don't see a very good setup here from Zigna in recent history. I'm just looking at recent history. Now, we've gotten some great continuation signals on Zigna. For example, a continuation long here, and got a continuation long there. That wasn't a good one. But if we would have taken the first signal, then we would have taken that one. We don't scale into a position. Continuation long here that didn't do very well. I'm not really digging how my strategy is working on Zigna right here. So when it comes to assets, I backtest them and I optimize my settings based on time dilation. But you know, the trend, let's look at some more fundamental factors. The trend is increasing on low volume. I don't see a massive volume spike that typically occurs at the end of a trend. This does look like a healthy uptrend to me. I don't necessarily see any reason why this should end or not continue. I don't see any signal to enter into this trade now. Nothing about this looks attractive for an entry to me. We are going to open and close below the baseline, it seems to me. Wadatar is actually giving us not a short signal, but a short indication. Relative Vigor is crossing over as well, and Minx is working its way down toward a short signal as well. So I don't really like the way this looks. I would not be entering into a trade on Zynga. And I also would not be in Youngitivity. And I'm sorry that I can't give you any more information than that, but that's just my honest analysis. I mean, the uptrend on this is good. You are in an uptrend. You're in an established uptrend. I just don't think the timing for me to enter this trade would be right now. Maybe in a few days. So let's go look at ZIL BTC then. Thank you so much for the $2, by the way. Thank you, my good friend. All right, so Zilliqua was a trade that we took as well. We entered Zilliqua on the 2nd of June on the long signal, and this was one of our better trades as well over the last week. So this did very well for us. And then we're getting confirmed exit on this candle right here. Although Minx did get us out a little bit earlier on this candle right here. See here. And I'm not seeing a signal to re-enter at this point in time. We did get a long signal from WADA yesterday. Minx did not confirm that. Neither did volume. This would be a continuation signal, however, because we haven't closed below the baseline. I'm going to say overall, Zilliquit looks good, but I don't see a good reentry now unless you were attempting to grab a reentry off of the baseline, which I don't think is what you want to do now, because had you have gotten a trade back down here, you would have likely already taken your profits. Let's go look at where our qualifying line is. Yeah. So had you grabbed an entry in the proximity of the baseline, then you would have already hit your take profit target on today's candle. You already would have tagged that qualifying line because that's where your first take profit is when you do take a reversal trade in that fashion. Jar, Olorim, Olorim. Thank you so much for the follow over on Twitch, my good friend. Sorry if I had trouble with your name. It's a good one. So again, kind of similar to that Zynga chart we were looking at, the uptrend is here, but I don't see the entry right now. The falling volume is good. Falling volume on a pullback is generally indicative that it is a pullback and not an actual trend reversal. I don't see a massive spike in volume that typically occurs at the end of a trend to identify the end of a trend. And if we look at overall price structure, we can see a good run up here, a big run down right here, consolidation that led to more of a pronounced downtrend. And this does seem like a good area for consolidation. Look at these massive volume spikes when we zoom the chart out, right? Again, where does significant volume come into an asset? At the beginning and at the end of a trend. So we've been in an overall pronounced downtrend for quite a while on Zilliquit. I mean, all of 2018, really. And we've had some good run-ups because, again, this is the trade right here. And just as this was the trade, just as this is the trade, just as this was the trade that we just took on Zilliquit. So overall, I want to say this looks pretty darn good. I mean, look at that volume zoomed out. That is pretty impressive. That is pretty significant volume coming into this asset. So big accumulation happening on Zilliquit, but I don't. I'm definitely leaning bullish towards Zilliquit, but I don't see a reentry at this point in time unless we're taking a reversal in proximity to the baseline. Dad23 says, you said we are in a downtrend, not bullish. So specifically what I said was we're not in a downtrend yet, but we are in consolidation. And consolidating below the baseline generally means that the highest probability is that we do continue moving downward, right? We haven't really started moving down yet. All we've done is exit our bullish expansion. And now we are consolidating below the baseline. So I hold my short open until the market reverses directions. Yes, I do trade both directions right now. I'm in a short position. I've been in a short position on Bitcoin for almost, not quite, but almost a week now. All Infinity, can we look at Cardenio? Yes, of course. Did you get that shirt yet? All Infinity? All right, Cardenio looks pretty good. Wadatar actually gave us a long signal on this baby yesterday. It's a little bit more sensitive. There's a problem with that because Wadatar will often give us early signals, but Wada gives us more false signals. That's why we have to enhance our filtration. With Minx, we might get a later signal, but often it needs less filtration. All right, so let's go look at Quadrigo. Cardenio looks pretty good, man. Cardenio looks pretty good. This is going to come up on my daily scan tonight when I'm looking for assets to trade. And we'll look where price closes in relation to the qualifying line. If it closes above, then I'll have to wait for a pullback. If it closes below, this is potentially a trade I'll be taking, depending on what the rest of my system tells me. But this does look good. This does look good. The only reason why I might not take the trade and why I'm not going to make a decision now is because of volume. The volume really isn't there. The volume is not overly impressive. And I really do want to see impressive volume coming into an asset at this point. So something that we can do And I have talked about for a while. Is we can use money flow. Money flow is a pretty good volume indicator if you don't want to use the regular volume indicator. It's more sensitive. Some would argue that it's better. It's not exactly what I use, but again, I did use it for a long time. Money flow is a really good indicator when you don't use it as a reversal indicator, when you actually look for it to identify what the trend is if there's overall volume. And as we can see, the money flow indicator is telling us that there's good volume. A couple other good ones: accumulation distribution, Chaikin money flow. Although I don't really like Chaikin money flow, to be honest with you, I think money flow is much better, the MFI. I digress. Market facilitation index. Sorry, guys. I really thirst just went high. Must be all the fluoride. It's telling you, drink more fluoride. Okay. So yeah, Cardano overall looks good. Nothing to do at this exact point. Got to wait till this evening, and I'd like to see. So Beyond Meat, I'm not exactly sure. BYND. Yeah. All right, Beyond Meat. This was a good launch. This was a very good launch. So let's get out of here. I remember we looked at this quite a while ago. This kind of looks like a chart of one or Matic or something, doesn't it, guys? Okay, so we didn't have any indications on the daily, so we would have had to go down to probably the 4-hour. So we would have entered here. Kind of my rule for things that don't have data. Or we have to go down to a much lower time frame, and then we just oscillate. I don't really like to trade below this level of the meso time frame. The 3-hour I quite like as well, but 4 is really good. So we would have entered here. That would have been a good trade. Price ran up about another 20%. And we would have entered here. This is when we get our primary signal from Minx. And price ran up very well. We get a continuation long here and a continuation long on this gap up. And told to exit our position here. So there's a couple things that are happening right now. Relative vigor is crossing under, and MFI is still telling us that there's a lot of volume. But look at this big volume spike that typically occurs at the end of a trend. Volume comes in here at the beginning, and volume typically comes in at the end. So price is pulling back down to the baseline. You are allowed to take the reversal trade off the baseline, but manage risk quite well. So this is not a trade I would take. Beyond Meat is not a trade I would take. I would not be surprised to see this close below the baseline. We can already see WADA starting to gear up to give a short signal, and we can already see Minx heading lower to potentially be generating a short signal here in a couple days as well. So I think, and again, you don't want to be the guy calling the top in a bull market or the bottom in a bear market, but looking at how this has ran up 200%, traditional stock. Look at this massive amount of volume coming in. This is mostly late stage buying. Individuals who bought here need the volume here to sell. And yes, this looks like the beginning of a downtrend. I would have to wait till prices below the baseline to actually take a position, but I would not take a Beyond Meat trade right now. Okay. So let's get over into Forex and also, I apologize, music. All right, so let's look at the euro dollar. All right, so the last signal was a continuation long last night. Continuation long last night. Oh, wait, this is the daily. This is the hour. Sorry. So the euro dollar, my bad, was a long signal here. And as I said, euro dollar, this is not a trade we can take. We have to wait for the pullback into the buy zone right here, or again, you take the reversal off of the baseline. And so entry here. And this is doing pretty good. Already hit 1. Do take profits on the euro USD long. You'd be up about, from where I would have entered, currently be up about 115 pips. Good trade. Dollar yen did give us the continuation short right here. Very low margin for profit. You would have exited here at a very small loss, which is good. And we're just waiting for another signal. Nothing to do on the dollar yen. Pound dollar, consolidating at the baseline. No signals to do anything, which is good. I quite like that my system is keeping me out of this because this is just a little bit of a bloodbath right now. Aussie dollar, got that long signal right here. That was a good trade. Hit take profit 1. Did we hit take profit 2? Yes, we hit take profit 2 on that wick right there. Price pulling down to the baseline, and again, we're still holding this trade. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We would have exited right here after that on the close of the exact wick. Gave us take profit 2 if you're using RVGI. So done with that trade. Waiting for another signal with Aussie dollar. Dollar CAD, again, short signal on this candle right here, and no signal to exit yet on that trade. Kiwi Swissy, short signal right here that we would not have taken because there was no volume. And nothing to do right now. Dollar Swissy, continuation short right here. That was a great trade. Nothing to do right now. Euro yen was a long on the 6th of June. And doing pretty well so far. Nice bullish expansion from the euro yen. Euro pound, continuation long on yesterday's candle. Let's see what happens. Kiwi dollar gave us the long here. We could have got this pullback back inside the qualifying zone. And that was a pretty good trade. Take profit 1 to be a take profit 2. Maybe on that wick. And price pulling back down to the baseline. Basically a no trade zone. Although Wada Atar is still rising explosion level to green bar. So. And RVGI hasn't actually crossed under yet. So that's. So Kiwi dollar might actually be good. Oh, the CAD yen. Go to the CAD yen. I don't know if I would have done that, but I'm not a reversal trader. So here's where I would have taken a long on the CAD yen. And just barely missed my first take profit so far. Volume's still quite good. MFI is just about to pour some volume in there. RVGI hasn't crossed over. Yeah, I would still be in a long on CAD yen, my brother. Canadian dollar was a long here. Or here, actually. Let's take a close gander at that. I think we did close above the qualifier, so we would have got here. I think we already talked about this one. That's a good trade. Nothing to do right now. Dollar Aussie is in a no trade situation. The dollar euro has obviously been a short. Nothing to do right now, though. Dollar yuan. Got a continuation long here, and we might be exiting that trade. Yep, RVGI is actually going to have us exiting this trade at the close of this candle. Price pulling back down to the baseline. And overall, the dollar yuan just continuing to consolidate. Pound CAD. Last signal was a short. Nothing to do right now. Correct. A 90 and a hope. I did look at Litecoin quite a bit. See the karma, but I will look at Ethereum Classic for you, man. Okay. Nothing to do on Zao Gold right now, man. Bitmania, thank you so much for the follow over there on Twitch, my good friend. Oh, this is everybody's favorite song, huh? Okay, so nothing to do on Zao Gold right now. Coming back into the buy zone, but only for a reversal. Palladium. Jiffy Lube oil changes and T-flushes on sale. I'm getting mine done now. Awesome, Andrew. All right, Palladium continues to be a long from the 5th of June. Looking over at silver. Nothing to do now. Silver was along here. Could have got the pullback right here. Actually, let's see. Couldn't have taken that one right here. Could have gotten in on the close of this candle. And that's good. We would have caught TP1 on that silver trade. Nothing to do right now. Rhodium Commods falling down. GLD. Nothing to do with GLD either. Wendy Brown Eye says, what is a profitable trader? One who beats the market or one who has more money than when they started? I didn't beat the market so far, but I've doubled up, man. Awesome, dude. Well, thank you, man. I would say, so for me, I would be able to do less of what I do if I didn't beat the market. But it's about averages. It's about statistics over time. Okay. There are going to be weeks where I don't beat the market. There's going to be weeks where I significantly overperform the market. And then we have to talk about cryptocurrency. What is the market? Well, if you want to be honest, the market is not Bitcoin. The market is the S&P 500. So on average, the S&P 500 returns 11% a year. So if you're defeating 11% a year as a trader, then you are outperforming the market. Okay. If we're actively the problem with Bitcoin is that the S&P 500 doesn't do what Bitcoin does. The S&P 500 doesn't lose 80% of its value over the course of a year. You know, if you go back and look at the latest massive dip in the S&P 500, it didn't lose nearly close to that much, right? So big swings in the S&P 500 are a little bit different. So professional traders are out to beat the S&P 500 because that is the market standard for American traders anyway. Pretty much the worldwide standard. So much wealth is based upon the American economy, upon the S&P 500, upon the Dow Jones, upon the NASDAQ. So, like, for example, like last month, I returned 46.6% of ROI on my equity. It was a great month. You know, May was an absolutely fantastic month for me, for everybody in the group as well. Never flush your tea. So you put it in the trash?
in progression, it's all that I wanted. A foe in affection, I summon and dub it. Why you be all on my line about nothing? Why won't you go get you $1 or something? Don't hang with a nigga who lying for nothing. I see that we different, you riding, I double. I don't do discussions on bragging about hundreds. Don't go to your places, I know that they sunken. Don't call me your brother, I barely could trust you. I talked to a shorty, she bagging the bugging. And I'ma need all of my dollars on corporate, so hand me the money, I divvy the pie. I'ma give all of my people a portion to build them a fortune. I'm flipping the ride. I can't be mixy when iffy the vibe. And 40 on 50 is really the time. Why is you all on my phone like you want me? Like you wasn't pushing the kid to the side. I don't know if you bitches are thinking I'm blind. Cross on my crosses and dirt on my eyes. Done with your efforts, I'm dealing with pressures. I know it's a lesson, that's word of the wise. Dubbing the mixes I'm mixing, I know I've been missing. I needed some personal time. Fuck all the pictures, dimensions. I don't with your digits, I mean it, I'm staying inside. Cause bitch, I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone in progression, it's all that I wanted. The foe in affection, I summon and dub it. Cause bitch, I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, tell me I'm garbage.
Let's see here.
That's why I ain't calling. Phone in progression, it's all that I wanted. The foe in affection, I summon and dub it.
So, well, first off, let's just talk about how awesome that is, Wendy, that you've doubled up your account. That's absolutely fantastic. Most individuals who are trading are not doing that. Most individuals, on average, are losing money or breaking even. So, for example, when we overall are outperforming the market, there are going to be times when we break even. And that is good. That is good because that is capital preservation. If you are able to turn a losing trade into a break-even trade, you are light years ahead of the competition because most people are unable to call a loss early and are unable to position size appropriately. And all the gains that they make, they end up losing in losses because they're not able to mitigate risk appropriately. That's why, again, the most important thing, let's talk about this. This is exactly what we talk about in everything that we do. The hierarchy is money management and risk management, trading psychology, and then your technical strategy. Your technical strategy is going to be the backbone of what you do, but it's not the most important thing to know first off, you need to have a good technical strategy. But if you don't have the money management skills and the psychology to implement that effectively, then that's not going to help you. I will take a worse technical strategy than the setup that I have and my money management skills against anybody's great technical strategy. Heck, they can use mine, but poor money management skills, and I will outperform them at the end of the year. It's a game of statistics. It's not a game of huge, like we're going to put all our eggs in one basket. I have absolutely know exactly what's right about this trade. Again, that's not what we do. Those aren't the trades that we make. Those aren't the trades that we put on. We win overall through a long period of taking trades and diversifying our positions across the high preponderance of coins that have the ability or opportunity to generate profit in the short term over the next 24 to 96 hours. How do we determine what those coins are? Through our technical strategy. How do we actually take advantage of that, though? By position sizing correctly and by managing our money effectively. And also so that when price turns the other way against us, what happens to us is small losses or break-even trades until the trend turns back in our favor. And that's why most individuals, that is where most people fail when they approach trend following trading, because it works really well for them when they're catching a good trend, but they don't know what to do when price consolidates and turns the other direction. That's exactly what PTP does. So awesome. Thank you so much. And Kyle Kangas, thank you so much for the support, man. Thank you so much. Some people will get it. Some people will not, man. That's okay. We just have to remember that many people are not performing well in their own personal lives, and that's okay. A lot of people are not getting the results that they want, and it's easy for people to target individuals who put themselves out there and who try to talk to other individuals and just express their thoughts, whether they're good or bad, whether I'm right or wrong. I'm out here every day telling you guys how I honestly feel and giving you my opinion on stuff. And I'm an easy target. It's easy for some people to take their anger out on that. So it doesn't bother me. It just comes to the territory. I love your color markers. Do you share your charts free or paid? I need you to elucidate, expound upon that a little bit more for me if you want. What do you mean by color markers? And I do post charts on TradingView. And I'm here every day for 2 hours a day for free. Now, we do have premium.crackencryptocurrency.com, where we teach individuals, we walk them through the Pathways to Profit course to learn how to develop their own system to trade how I trade. We do give signals. We have a lot of educational content. We have mentors. We have a trading community. We have tools for risk management and position sizing. We have tools for portfolio management. David James. Yeah, I wanted to touch on that. So to rephrase your previous question, do I think it is possible to design an AI program that can trade for you? Just curious. So yes, I do think it is possible. I don't think that the best attempts now have created that, unless the investment banks are doing something that I'm unaware of, which most likely they are. But there are lots of things that can be automated. And in general, here's the thing. If you go into any professional desk trading operation, for example, if you walk onto the floor of the CMA, it's mostly all market making bots. But most professional asset managers do not have bots trade for them, just like I do not have bots trade for me. So do I think it's possible? Yes. But for whatever reason, I don't think the pieces have all come together to create the system. Again, I think the opportunity is out there, but there are lots of things that are hard to program in, like discretion and nuance. And most people, especially amateur botters, because there's lots of amateur bot traders in cryptocurrency, and most of them don't do very well. And the reason why is because, again, just as I talked about, they don't understand the hierarchy of money management, psychology, and then technical strategy. They just focus on technical strategy. For example, backtesting in Pine is very nuanced. You have to do things a very certain way to get accurate results. Pine script throws up all problems with repainting. And so again, this is because I teach individuals how to program Pine. That's the next module in PTP. There's lots of things that can go wrong with backtesting a strategy in Pine. And I think it's very easy to do in Pine. I don't know any other programming language than Pine, and I've taught myself Pine over a long period of time. It's a pain in the butt. But it takes a long time to figure out the problems. And this is why, like, I get so many like messages from people who are like, hey, I see you're doing something in Pine backtesting. Don't you know that blah, 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 so your results can't be accurate? Thank you. Yes, I'm true to this, not new to this. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. And I don't resent those things coming, but that just lets you know how rampant the miseducation is in this space, because all they've seen, like, it's kind of like a lot of people that are going to hate on anybody that's out there talking about trading or doing any kind of education. It's kind of like the same mentality of people who refuse to go long because they were just waiting for price to crash back down on them. Some prominent YouTubers in the crypto space who have crypto in their name might be some of these people. But what's the word I'm looking for? Lost my train of thought. Got to be that fluoride, man. Pretty easy to double up, though, when Bitcoin is like a young man in a strip club. Midwest Attempt says, since utilizing PTP strategy in 3 commas 2 weeks ago, I'm currently up 16.45% ROI. That's awesome, man. That's awesome, brother. Green, black, and white candle markers. Yeah, so hey, man, you can do that. That's easy to do. Just right click in settings. Oh, okay. I was talking about TradingView Strategy Tester. Thanks, it came back to me. So it just lets you know how bad the education is in this space, when what most people have seen, they only think that this can only be one thing, and not that there are ways for it to be different. Great. Okay, so I'm going to get this right. I want to say it's gradation. Grayation. I think that's a unique way to say Grayation. But thank you so much for the sub on YouTube. But if I mispronounced your name, I apologize. So anyways, if you right-click on your TradingView chart and go into settings, you can actually set that all up, man. The first thing you want to do is go to appearance, and you can set your background colors. I like the color that mine is. I did blue for a long time, but people didn't like that, so I stopped doing it on the stream. I still do blue a little bit in my personal trading. And then I would recommend making your vertical and horizontal grid lines opaque. I don't do any session breaks or anything like that because I'm not an intraday trader. Hide your navigation buttons. Those are a pain. And then when you get to symbol, first off, make sure your symbol is ticker because we know what we're looking at. I don't need to know this is Bitcoin. And then I change my candles, the color of my candles, the color of my borders and wicks. I make my last value line very a unique color so I know exactly what it is. Because when I'm doing my daily scan and I'm actually doing my trading in the pocket, I do this so I can see I'm pointing like you can see me. So you can see the indicator last values on your screen. And I find that very, very, just it makes my workflow much easier. I went over my workflow in the last VIP Ask Me Anything for the group, where I go over actually how I have things set up on my screen when I'm actually doing my trading. And Steve C, we did go over Litecoin quite a bit, man. We did go over Litecoin quite a bit. LTCM19 is a trade I'm in. Right here on this continuation long on the 4th of June, I do have a trailing stop loss on right now with a trail value of negative 0.0007 is the trail value for the trailing stop after we hit take profit 3, which was right here. 1.5. And I have the 2-factor off, and I'm not doing that right now. But yeah, so this is the profit targets that I said I always use Quadrigo. So I got the trailing stop on. Negative 0.0007. So when that gets hit, I'll be out of the trade. Pretty happy with that. Litecoin and Zilliqua, some of the better trades that we put on last week. Maybe someday, listen, I'm sure that there are individuals out there because, for example, we've experimented with using things like AI and neural networks and to optimize parameters for our indicators. And that stuff's very, very helpful. But as far as there are certain parts of my strategy that I would be okay with automating, but just giving the keys over to a bot makes me very uncomfortable. All right, it'd make my investors uncomfortable too. What do I think about Phantom? Is it FNT? What is it? FTM. A little birdie told me last night, and you know who you are. A little birdie told me last night, hey man, grab some Phantom. They're having an event. I think it's going to pump. Now listen, I wish they'd have told me the day before that. Now there were some good trades here on the intraday time frame. Again, we're not intraday traders, but overall this hasn't really had the appreciation. Now if you could have snagged this off another exchange, maybe, but yeah, maybe. No, I mean, the crypto market arbitrages very effectively, so I'm not really seeing a whole lot of profit margin. But yeah, congratulations to anybody that snagged that up. What do I think about Bitcoin Cash? All right, Bitcoin Cash will be the last chart that I look at, and then I got to go, guys. Nothing to do, man. BCH ABC Bitcoin is doing absolutely nothing but consolidating above and below the baseline. We did get a continuation short signal right here. You could have taken that trade. Volatility is pretty low, so you might have hit a take profit already, but no, not yet. You're still within the entry zone, but it's not really something that I'm excited about. BCH ABC is not really doing anything. The last BCH trade we took was this short right here. And we really haven't done anything. and for good reason. Actually, no, we did take a continuation short here. So, all right, guys, with that being said, man, thank you guys so much for joining me. Sorry, that was really, really loud. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Of course, I have been your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at KrakenCryptocurrency.com. FNX player, thank you so much for the follow on Twitch, my good friend. Thanks for joining the community. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, and or death threats, leave a comment on the video. I'd highly appreciate that. If it is a genuine comment or question or is interesting, I'll try to get back to you within 48 hours. Thank you so much, Floyd, over there on Twitch, my good friend. Yes, I did do Litecoin, Taurus. I did. Thank you, man. Let's see here. Okay. Comments below. Make sure that you guys trade safely. Don't do anything that your strategy doesn't tell you how to do. I do the same thing every single day, and that is the biggest key to my success. That is the secret sauce. It is PTP. It is discipline. It is money management. All right. If you guys would like to support the show, and if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe or give us a follow wherever you happen to be watching, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, DLive, or Facebook Live. There is also a share button, guys. If you want to share us around to your family, your friends, even people you don't like, this information is important. There are very few people in this space doing what I'm doing. Make sure to try to get this information in front of them and help us change the space for the better, guys. You guys who have been with us for a long time know exactly what our mission statement is and exactly what we're trying to do, and you're doing a great job. Thank you guys so much for all the support. You guys are absolutely wonderful. I'm so blessed that I get to come here every single day, and I mean it, guys. I've done a lot of different things in my life, but you guys are the best, and I really do mean that from the bottom of my heart. So thank you guys so much for the DMs about my father. I highly appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for coming into the community. If you haven't joined our Discord yet, make sure that you do. Discord.KrakenCryptocurrency.com. If you guys would like to have access to our premium trading group, get access to our proprietary indicators, our signals and setups, our personal mentoring, our educational content, the Pathways to Profit course, our risk management tools, our position sizing tools, as well as our portfolio calculator. You can, of course, check the link at the top of the screen. I'd be happy to walk you through the way that we do things around here, the Kraken Cryptocurrency way. There are also links in the description for ByBit, Windscribe, VPN, Binance, Coinbase, if you guys would also like to support the show at very little or no cost to yourself. So, until next time, guys, trade safely, and I'll catch you on the next one.